I don't have any tooth. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with it.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it ever, or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the Group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I could easily list off the top Group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Down the middle, James, the lateral to the corner of the end zone. Can you believe that?
Welcome in, everybody, to the Group of 5 Guys podcast. I am your host, Matt Sprouse. We got the squad here with us. Week 8 coming up. We're going to review Week 7. We're going to preview Week 8. We'll talk about top players, top teams. Jesse's got an atrocious award. We got all kind of good stuff coming to you today. If you do like the show so far, make sure you hit like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of 5 Guys. And then feel free to go to groupof5guys.com, get some swag. It's going to be 35 degrees here in Columbus, Georgia, here in a couple days. Great weather for a nice hoodie. Wear in the mornings and evenings, late afternoons. Let's go around the horn. Always start with you, Jesse Grisham. How are you, sir?
Matt, you can tell by my voice, I am a lot better than I was last week. I got a lot of hell, a lot of grief, a lot of shit last week for my unpreparedness for the show. But guess what? I was fighting for my life. Okay. You can tell it. I was hurting. I was sore. I also lost a lot of money last week. And just like Dumb and Dumber, I came back this week and totally redeemed myself because I was hitting on all angles this weekend. Not only did I call Georgia Southern upsetting James Madison, I had Louisiana beating Marshall. He had Troy taking care of Texas State, and we'll get to more in the show. But a lot better mood, a lot more energy, a lot happier this week.
Well, it's good to hear. It's good to see. You look bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, fired up.
Well, I've been going to the gym for 3 weeks straight now. I've lost about 7 pounds. I feel better. I feel lighter. My chair's not creaking anymore every time I move in it, so it's going well.
I'm doing the math. I'm doing the math in my head.
That's right.
We were at Troy.
That was 9 days in a row.
9 days. That doesn't put today at 3 weeks, I don't think.
About 19 days in a row. Anyway.
12 days. Tyler Tipton, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little down today. The Phillies beat my Braves in the NLDS over the weekend. Tough series loss there, but good season from the Braves. Congrats to the Phillies. They got a really good team that's hot at the right time right now. Group of 5 football action. Bummed to see these undefeated teams lose this past week, so that probably takes us out of the playoff possibility for this year.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, down to 0 undefeateds, playoffs. I mean, it would have to get real wild to have a Group of 5 team contending there. Jeff Murphy, last but not least, how are you?
You know what? I'm hanging in there, Sprouse. It's been a kind of crazy weekend, another crazy weekend in college football, and I mean the world got set on fire this weekend. The biggest game that everybody is talking about from this past weekend. I mean, NIU beats Eastern Michigan.
Unbelievable.
They are slowly climbing back in that division. So just keep an eye out, man. You know, Rocky Lombardi played. He had a decent game, and you know they're playing some better football than they were the last couple weeks.
They're killing me. Eastern Michigan is killing me. They play good one weekend, and they're like, we're back, and then they just pull that. That's one game I was definitely incorrect on. I thought Eastern Michigan was going to handle NIU. Lombardi's back, like Jeff said. He's back. Watch the turnaround season happen.
Well, yeah, and as we all know, the MAC, I mean, we know all you got to do is go 500, and you're right in it. Other than Toledo, though, I'll tell you what.
Toledo looks pretty good.
They're rolling. But, Jess, I'm going to stay with you. Natrocious Award. And just for everybody out there, the correct spelling of Natrocious, it's just atrocious with an N at the beginning. If I think it was the very first episode we ever did, Swag Bear was over here talking about the show Friday Night Lights, and he said, Sprouse,
All
the show
American,
is
Sprouse.
All American.
All American.
It's my
And I
fault.
still stand by it. That show, the acting, everything about it is atrocious.
He was going on. He said it's atrocious probably 3 or 4 times. And finally I said, are you saying atrocious with an N? And here we go.
I swear on everything. I've always said that, I believe. And my wife is still in disbelief that I use that word. But I come to find out at least once a month, I make some kind of shit up. Oh, I did one last week. What was it? A logarithm. So I make up different words all the time. But here we go. Jeff, cue me in. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. There was a football game this past weekend that some people have heard of, some people may not have heard of. But let's talk about the most hated team in the country, especially if you're an MTSU fan, the Tennessee Vols. Not going to get into the game much. Don't care about the game. But let's put it this way. Tennessee, they beat an old rival for the first time. And they celebrated. They celebrated hard. Be proud of your football team. Kyle loved it. They charged the field. If Tennessee didn't think that the Tennessee fans were going to charge the field, they're poorly mistaken, because they put up freaking World War II bombs across the stadium. They were ready to party after that game if they were to win that game. But here's the deal. Where it comes into the atrocious part is after your team celebrates, they take down the goalpost. Your football alone brings in $91 million a year for football. But you're going to put a tweet out there and start a GoFundMe page to have your team try to pay back the fines coming back to you by the SEC. You know damn well you would pay $250,000. You would pay $1 million to beat Alabama. But here's a $250,000 fine. Actually, it might be a $150,000 fine. Not exactly sure. It's not that much money for Tennessee. But you're asking your fans to pay to put your damn goalpost back up and fix any damages and pay the fines to the SEC. Tennessee, you took a huge weekend, a monumental weekend for your program, and now you did something atrocious. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. It's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
That's
in my opinion.
I mean, you find a way to make a historic weekend and still embarrass yourselves. I mean, it is just.
You got to fix my lawn. After you throw a huge party. This popular high school kid throws a huge party and his front yard gets messed up. Now he's making everybody pay for it. No, you asked for it. You asked for it, and now you got to pay the price.
Interesting. I didn't even know that game happened.
What was the what was the goal on the GoFundMe? It was like
$250,000, what I think it was. And Tipton, if I'm wrong on that, correct me. But I saw yesterday they had about $70,000 donated so far. But it's not going to come out of their budget. They want the fans to pay for it. It's ridiculous. It's all right. I'm done talking about it. But that one really just amazed me to see that, because they're probably a top 5 moneymaker in college football. Either way.
Oh yeah, I mean they pay teams like App State $1.5 million to come kick their ass every couple of years. So I mean, Anyway.
I still think they're paying Lane Kiffin too. A couple other coaches that they ran out of town pretty quick.
Derek Dooley was eating spaghetti bought for by Tennessee in the stadium as the Tennessee fans were celebrating. He's like, "Thanks for the spaghetti."
Saw that. Gosh, man, this is a living nightmare. I mean, what good time for Halloween to come in and just this nightmare comes true for us. Jeez, man. But anyway, that's enough of that crap. You know, hey, now we got to deal with just one more irrational, ignorant fan base. They're going to just be a little bit louder after that. But Jeff, let's get into the hotline. And you guys, this is by far the best part of our show, getting the fans involved. 615-900-4286. You guys call the hotline. I think we're going to get some trash talk on this week's, because I know there was some Twitter beef happening between a couple Sunbelt foes. Jeff, I'll let you tee it up.
Yeah, keep the calls coming. They've been great. Start off with our resident Ragin' Cajun fan after the big win the other night.
Hey, what's up, group of 5 guys? Terry Johnson. For all you Marshall fans that were talking hey, I'm a curse on this, so just get ready. For all you Marshall fans that was talking all week, hey, what the you got to say? Hey, Cajuns haven't looked that good, and we're not all that great of a team. We're not like we used to be. We got back on our horse. We whooped that ass. All right. And for 2 games this season, the lightning delay has boosted us. All right. Hey, I admit, tempers were high with the New Orleans Bowl last year, and I'll be the one of the Cajuns fans that admitted that, hey, we had a late hit on their player in the New Orleans Bowl last year, and the way that the team and, the players acted was unnecessary. As a Cajun fan, I'll admit that. All right? Don't come out there talking want to fly around and all that other bullshit. You can't back it up, right? Henry Colombi got his ass whopped and sandwiched, right? Your boys getting knocked around. They thought they could hang, but they can't, all right? Hopefully this is a good sign for the rest of the season. Just praying that we can get bowl eligible. Not going to, as a Cajun fan, not going to, put my expectations too high like I did at the beginning of the season. But we put out, I'm proud of the Cajuns. We got back on the horse, right? Get right game. It's just was an awesome game to watch. Ben Woolridge is a dog. That man went out there, former walk-on, and he just took over, and I'm proud of him. And I'm proud of Coach Dez more than anything, because a lot of people want to look down on him and, want to, count him out. And I just want to say I'm happy for Coach Dez, because that man's a great representation of our school. Still got to call a better game here and there, right? But, happy for those guys. Go Cajuns. Marshall, you.
You know what my favorite part about that is for the past couple of weeks when Louisiana's been coming off a loss, Terry's like the nicest guy. God bless Group of 5 guys. God bless Louisiana. Now Marshall, F you.
They get a win. But
Yeah,
that's what it's about, man. Just the fire and the passion. And I mean, he's right. Shout out, Ben Woolridge, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 45 rushing yards on the ground. I mean, big, massive win going to Marshall. I mean, that's a big statement.
If I may get on a little bit of a high horse on that game, I did tell y'all Louisiana's been messing around with 2 quarterbacks, and that was going to be the reason they won that game, was because they were going to be forced to stick with one. And he didn't play great. I mean, but he played well, got the win. And then, Marshall, it's funny because it was a decent crowd at kickoff for the majority of Group of 5 schools. But then the lightning delay and then a lot of the Marshall folks were acting like it was a bad crowd. So it's interesting to see what standards are. But that lightning delay did hurt Marshall a little bit, just getting the crowd out of it. But, yeah, again, shout out to the Cajuns, man. They got it done.
Marshall now 1-4 since the Notre Dame upset.
Call me crazy, but I think that they're getting a kind of a welcoming to a new conference. They're used to playing Conference USA, where as a guy that played in Conference USA, we all did. Right now, Sun Belt might be a little more, challenging. You got to come with it every week, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, let's get to our next one. And this is where Sprouse kind of mentioned the Twitter beef. We had Stu's Wright and Creme Brulee, Texas State fan, kind of going back and forth. So Stu's Wright took to the phones.
Yes.
Hey guys, Stu's Wright from Twitter here. Got a little beef with old Creme Brulee from Texas State, calling out the fan bases of App State, Louisiana, and Coastal. I got a number for you, 2.7. That's the number of wins Texas State football averages, or has averaged since 2015. 2.7. Appalachians averaged over 9, close to 10 wins a year in that stretch. So, congratulations. You finally beat Appalachian State. Now you're 1-6 career against Appalachian State. Also, just looking at some past schedules, you're 0-8 against Louisiana. You're 1-3 against Coastal. That gives you a 2-17 all-time record against the 3 fan bases you just called out, pal. Maybe you need to worry a little more about Texas State and getting that 2.7 average per year wins up before you start shooting at everybody else. Sorry, pal. Congratulations. I'd be excited if I beat Appalachian State, too, and I was 0-6 lifetime against us. Enjoy it. Cheers.
Well,
2.7 ain't that bad, because that was my high school GPA, and it got me to college.
It got you to Middle Tennessee.
It got me to Middle Tennessee State.
That may be the first time in the history of App State football that an App State fan had the back of Coastal Carolina. Interesting twist there on that.
Man, I followed that whole Twitter beef between Creme Brulee and hey, I got respect for Creme Brulee. I kind of came to his defense too because I was getting a lot of shit from App State having the wrong stats. I get it, so I was trying to I try to stoke the fire a little bit, being like, well, even if Cam Peoples did play, he wasn't going to get 40 yards like Texas State defense. So I had Creme Brulee's back. Creme Brulee's going against the freaking Army by himself. Where's the other Texas State fans at? That's what I want to know.
Well, from somebody who kind of goes to battle on the Twitter sphere every once in a while by myself, get used to it, Creme Brulee. You got to keep battling. After a big win,
your head up.
After a big win, you got to keep going at them. Hold it down for Texas State and San Marcos. So I love it. Keep it coming. So we're waiting out. Ball's in your court, Creme Brulee. We need a rebuttal next week. So, all right, and then we're going to move on to our boy Steeple PC 51 after a tough loss.
Hey, group of five guys, how you doing? This is Steeple _PC _51. Don't have great news. Old Dominion handed Coastal their first loss. And it wasn't pretty. Simply, they took us to the woodshed and they absolutely whipped our ass. Wasn't fun at all. Maybe I could draw some positive. Grayson McCall still threw for over 300-something yards, 3 touchdowns. One wide receiving core still looked decent. But our defense was, what's the word there? Atrocious. Yes, we were atrocious. That cat ran inside, ran outside. Stat-wise, that dude came in with a total of 255 yards rushing offense. And in one day, he ran for 256 yards, 14, I think, .2 average. That's horrible. I mean, it was horrible to watch. But some good things came out. As I said, Grayson McCall threw the ball very well. I thought we should have spread it out a little bit more. They got 3 dynamic wide receivers. And another good thing, at the stadium, they sell this Yuengling flight. That's a pretty good damn beer. So I'm about to go drink another case of this. And glad we got the bye week. And still, hopefully to see you guys in Conway. Have a good one.
It's still very possible for them to win the East. I think it's an eye-opening game for them. Luckily for them, James Madison can't play for the championship, right? Because James Madison's probably going to bounce back too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the biggest thing he's talking about is Blake Watson, 18 carries, 256 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that exposes you a little bit. I think the recipe going forward is going to be let's pound the rock against Coastal, keep Grayson McCall, on the sidelines. If you can't stop the run, I mean, that's an issue. So I'm sure they're going to get back to the drawing board on that.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they are 1 game behind Old Dominion now in the East, they still got a good shot to win the East Division, I think. Old Dominion's last 3 games for this season, James Madison, App State, and South Alabama. I mean, that is a brutal end to the schedule right there.
Well, the other thing too is as far as if it's going to be hosting or not, Troy already has a conference loss, and then so you've got to hope if you're Coastal or if you're somebody in the East, you've probably got to hope Troy beats South Alabama, and then somebody else does, and then there's a 1 or 2 loss team coming out of the West.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Steeple. He's been a weekly caller, and we appreciate it. Keep him coming. All right, we got to go back to our boy Terry Johnson. He gave a courtesy call on Saturday.
Hey, group of 5 guys, Terry Johnson, calling on a Saturday, calling again after calling earlier in the week after the Cajuns won. So I'm watching some good Sun Belt football, watching South Al and those Chicken Hawks over in Monroe. But I just wanted to say, man, it's fun watching, Eagles, Georgia Southern get JMU, right? Saw, Troy and Texas State went at it. But I just want to say, like, everybody in the Sun Belt is happy today, with the exception of those dirty cheaters, the COVID Carolina Astrid Clears over there in dirty cesspool, Myrtle Beach, whatever it is, because their asses got exposed. Hey, it happened to my Cajuns get exposed this year. App is getting exposed, and now we're getting, Georgia Southern, Marshall. Hey, it happens to the best of us. But I just wanted to say, everyone, I mean everyone in the Sun Belt is happy, right? Everybody in the Sun Belt is a Monarch fan. Thank you to those boys up in Norfolk, Virginia. We appreciate you, right? Because I just love seeing Kobe Carolina. And I haven't seen okay, sorry. Also, sorry if you have to bleep all this stuff out, Murph. I'm sorry. I know you got to bleep all my stuff out, but I'm just very
I'll be working
passionate
hard.
I haven't seen anything Kobe Carolina said on Twitter. They seem pretty quiet, right? But it's just great to see people get humbled, because like I said, it happens to all of us, right? But I think it's just even sweeter when it happens to those dirty mullet wearing, trailer park over there in Myrtle Beach. And hey, if anybody wants to come at me, I'm Terry Johnson, Team Money _72 on Twitter. All right, my DMs are open if you want to talk some. I don't care. God bless Group of Five guys. God bless Group of Five. Go Cajuns. Down with those mullet wearing cheaters over there in Myrtle Beach. Thank y'all.
You got a God bless in there towards the end.
They did.
Shit.
I think the guy.
I mean, everybody
like
hates those guys, man. They hate them.
There's nothing better than winning your game early in the week, and then you just can chill out on Saturday and just watch all the games, no pressure, no nothing. Oh man, good for Terry. He's.
Are you referring to when you played football, or when your team? You're a fan of a team that are done playing.
All the above. Yeah, I mean, hell. But they won on Wednesday night, so then he got to just chill out and pull against people. That's good for him.
Heck, it's a full slate Saturday. If you're especially if you're going to the game, like you don't get to watch a lot of other games until you get home.
It's true.
So no, it's appreciated, Terry. Keep them coming, man. And I'll do my best to catch the profanity and bleep them out for you, brother. All right, second time caller, Jim Cowart, Georgia Southern.
Group of Five guys, this is Jim Cowart, Georgia Southern Eagle fan, calling you on my morning commute. Meant to call you on Saturday night, but I had a car full of sleeping kids and a sleeping wife headed back from Statesboro from that nice victory we had against an awesome JMU team. It was a super exciting game. I can't tell you how electric that stadium was. Man, it was awesome. I hadn't seen Paulson like that in a while. And shout out to JMU fans. Y'all travel well. Awesome fan base. Met a couple of you guys, had some great conversations. Hats off to you and your ball club. Y'all are awesome, and excited to have y'all in the conference. Just an awesome time. Really excited for my Eagles. These guys don't quit. I think they get better every week. They have 4 turnovers. The Eagles' favor this weekend, man, I mean, they just played crazily. And Kyle Van Treese getting diamond medallion status with his 578 passing yards. I mean, holy cow. Wow. Hadn't seen that in my lifetime, and I've been an Eagle fan since birth, so it was pretty cool to be a part of that. Again, just an awesome weekend. Also, just a comment here. Man, the Sun Belt is getting really excited this back half of the season, along with the other Group of Five conferences. And I got a question for you guys. Right now, mid-season, who are your favorites now? What do you think is going to happen with the rest of the conferences? Are your picks still your picks? Like to know, who do you think is going to come out on top when the dust settles? Have a good one, fellas, and GATA.
Appreciate it, Jim.
I'll go.
No.
Well, the only one that maybe close to being on the same path as it was at the beginning of the year. I mean, we were talking about Troy being really good in the West. I like Troy winning the West, and hell, I may pick Troy to win the whole daggum thing, to be honest with you. But when it comes to the Mountain West, when it comes to Conference USA, well, Conference USA, UTSA, they're probably the best too. But remember, American, Mountain West, no. And Sunbelt East, no. I thought you asked me week 1. I thought App State was going to walk away with the thing. So
I'm right. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Conference USA, UTSA, UAB, North Texas, all 3 still look pretty good. Western looks good.
The American Houston was my personal pick. They are currently like 1-1, 3-3 overall, middle of the pack. Yeah, it's gonna be Tulane, UCF, or Cincy.
I mean, that's the thing though. Is like as bad as Houston's look, they're 1-1. They can easily win it.
Dare I say, like, pat myself on the back that I called Tulane being very good this year? I don't know. I mean, Jeff, let me get those eye rolls one more time. Tulane, look out, man. They might be that team this year in America. I want to keep saying that same line until the end of the year because they're looking good. And that South Florida upset y'all were talking about did not happen.
You know, it was close for a little bit. South Florida, 34th game in a row, they've improved. They're going to get it one day, dude. I'm telling you. It's going to be the last game of the year. They're going to beat UCF to ruin UCF's dreams. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep,
Speaking of the swag bear being right, the MAC is doing what the MAC does best. And you have Buffalo at 3-0 in the conference right now. And then Toledo, they look like the team to beat out of the MAC. Yeah. I think a majority of us picked NIU. Yeah, with Rocky Lombardi getting hurt, that's a tough situation, but
I think I had NIU going 12 wins.
I had like one team from each conference running the table, and we're not even halfway. We have 0 undefeateds. So, but it's shout out to Tulane and Cincinnati. They're the only 2 Group of 5s in the AP top 25. But shout out to Tulane getting in there, huh? First time. 98, they said. Or is it? Yeah.
I think so.
Yep. Good on them, man. Shout out.
Sounds right.
Is that it? Is that all we got, Jeff?
We got one last voicemail. Tyler from Troy.
Hey guys, it's Tyler Lassiter here, giving you guys a quick call. Had the opportunity to meet a few of you guys down a couple weekends ago down in Troy. Was very impressed. You guys are extremely nice. I was able to get some cool merch from you guys. The sweatshirt's awesome, comfortable, wear it everywhere. But just wanted to give a call this week. Got a big game, Troy and South Alabama. And yeah, it's going to be a good game for the Sun Belt Conference championship race, but I think the game really comes down to who's going to be the second best team in the state. Auburn sucks ass. It's really going to come down to Troy or South Alabama. So I wanted to give you guys a call, see what you thought about it, see if you wanted to chime in. I look forward to listening. Y'all have a good one.
First of all, if I may, that guy that left that voicemail is not the same guy that we met in Troy, Alabama. Oh man!
I've happened to met Tyler Laster in a previous life. He was an outstanding football player for the University of Troy, and let's just say he gets after it too. So I did like the call though. I agree because Auburn is complete diaper ass, but
disaster.
UAB is pretty good though, Tyler. Let's not forget about UAB there. But this South Alabama Troy game we're going to talk about later this afternoon. As good as the Jaguars are, and it's in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm sure that place is going to be rocking. I cannot make myself pick against Troy. I can't do it. I think that defense is going to be ready to show up, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be a great ball game.
Do we think the winner of this game comes out of the West Division?
I think so.
I personally think so.
I think it's no question. I think this is the winner of this game, and I hate to talk crap about Mobile, Alabama, but if we're going to make a Sun Belt championship game, I mean, be wild. We might be in Mobile, Alabama, is all I'm going to say, because that would be something.
Hey, man, home of the original Mardi Gras, Jess.
I know. I need to watch what I'm saying. Mobile, Alabama. I've been in Mobile.
The good news is Well, the good news is we won't be going to Lad People's Stadium.
That's very true, Sprouse.
So
very true.
They've made.
Okay, I had a bowl game there like 15
I
years
know
ago, and it was horrid. It was horrid. I'm sure South Alabama was great. Sorry, Jaguar fans. I feel bad now because they're like, "Oh, screw that guy. You don't like our Mobile, Alabama." I'm from Alabama. I know what Mobile's all about. It's actually a pretty beautiful town.
I think that something is going to happen in the Sun Belt, and it's going to come down a little bit later down the line. I think is the game that's going to settle the West. I'm going to just leave it right there because there's another team that has to go to South Alabama here in a couple weeks.
Texas State Bobcats.
Sure do.
Yeah, I mean hey, look, they
took Troy to the wire.
Yeah, they sure did. So anything.
I mean,
can happen.
hell, it might be Louisiana Monroe when they play Troy because they're due. Monroe, well, they beat Louisiana, but they're due for another win. They get so close, and then
week to
week.
That's
a good point, Jeff. You've never done the Sun Belt.
It's just
November.
It's just crazy every week.
November scaries, as they call it in Sun Belt.
Long way to go.
Yeah,
long way to go. But hey, you guys, thanks for calling. We really, really do appreciate the calls. 615-900-4286. You guys keep calling. Talk some trash. Have your responses to, creme brulee. You're up, buddy. Let's hear what you got to say. Let's hear what you got to say next week. But before we get to the Week 7 headlines, we talked about it earlier. If you're watching on YouTube, Tip's got the hoodie on. Go to group5guys.com. We got hoodies. I've got a little magnet behind me. We got stickers. There's like posters, flags, blankets, all kind of stuff on there. Group5guys.com. We've talked about it. We do get a small cut of that, so we can help pay our way to potentially Mobile, Alabama, or Conway, or Detroit, or whatever we're going to end up doing as far as the conference championship game goes. Week 7, a lot of headlines, a lot of upsets, big games, rivalry games. Always start with you, Swag Bear. What's your biggest headline from Week 7?
It's a headline, and it shocked a lot of people, but it didn't shock me because I chose it last week. I said there's going to be an upset, Jeff. I said Georgia Southern was going to take James Madison and knock them off the map. But you know why I was so confident in this? Because playing at Georgia Southern is very difficult. This is actually the 4th time a top 25 team has come into Georgia Southern and got schwacked. Kyle Vantrease, 578 yards through the air. And they had 3 receivers that had over 100 yards receiving, including Amir Jones, who had 7 passes for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Georgia Southern took care of business. Go Eagles. Yeah,
ain't no doubt. I mean, it's still every week it shocks me how good Georgia Southern is already and Vantrease he's got to be the number one reason for it. To go from what they were doing offensively to throwing almost 600 yards.
I mean, he threw the ball 64 times, Sprouse.
Can you imagine, like, if you were in a coma or something and you were a Georgia Southern fan and you woke up to look at the stat line and you saw that somebody threw the ball 60 times? I mean, good Lord.
For 500 yards?
It's got to be entertaining, man. Like, especially for the students. I know I don't mind watching a triple option or a wing tee or whatever because I like the ins and outs of it and everything. I like the reads they've got to make. But if you're a student or you're a casual fan, you're not entertained by that. So that's got to be drawing some more fans over there.
Let me ask you something here, though. All 3 of you, if you're a diehard Georgia Southern fan and you're seeing what Coach Helton has done so far, so fast, turning this program around in a year, are you now thinking like, slow down, buddy, because if he keeps winning more games, there's a lot of open and Power 5 positions out there, and that would be some shit if he ended up leaving here pretty soon. Just get your thoughts. I'm not saying he is. I just want to know your thoughts.
No, you're exactly right, Swagbear. He could be in a position late next season where they've lost 1, 2, maybe even 0 games. And yeah, his phone's going to be his.
I'm even thinking after this year, Tip. I'm thinking like after that, if he keeps winning, and if he gets 2 or 3 more wins under his belt, wins his bowl game, maybe not. But if I'm a fan, I'm like, oh man, this guy's too good.
I think that there are 4 or 5 head coaches in the Sun Belt Conference alone that are going to get a phone call from Auburn University pretty soon.
Okay.
But just for the purposes of they're already here, recruiting is going to be the same areas and all that. But yeah, it's a. What do you want though as a fan? Do you want to rattle off a 10 or 11 win season and then lose your coach? Or
Yeah. I hate to even put that in the air, Sprouse, but I was just thinking that of seeing what they've done compared to last year. It's got to be getting a lot of people's attention. But,
I don't think Helton's there yet, and I even think even if he has a great finishes this season really well, and even next year, I don't think he is. I think like Sprouse said, there's a couple other coaches that probably on the radar. But from a coach's standpoint, what do you want? I mean, do you want to be at a program that has all the excitement, that loves you, that everybody's bought in, that you can win and do great? Or do you want to go to a situation like Auburn where, you don't necessarily know what the AD situation is or is going to be, where they're just so hell-bent on competing with the Alabamas of the world, and if you don't come in and win in your first 2-3 seasons, like it's almost an unrealistic expectation. And I get the dollar signs, and I get all that, but at the end of the day, like it comes down to like, what do you want more? Do you want the dollars, or do you want to build something special and stay at one spot? That's probably a really good situation that you can win, conference championships, and I don't know. I'm not in that position, so I don't. It's hard to say.
Something Georgia Southern probably has, other than other Group of 5 schools, small percentage of other Group of 5 schools. They have a very, very, very loyal fan base, and they're going to back that stadium out. And I think Georgia Southern's got their own set of good boosters as well that will do everything in their power to make sure that Helton's happy and want to stay. So
yeah, and a lot of it, I don't know what he makes there, and I don't know what most of these coaches make. You probably figure in the Sun Belt, $800,000 or $900,000 a year, and you got to figure a place like Auburn, $8 or $9 million a year. So it is it's life-changing money. But then, your stress level, like just the recruiting schedule, I feel like, and with this NIL stuff, just more to it than it used to be. You're not just coaching football anymore. You've got to be traveling all the time, recruiting. You've got to be up on all these new rules and regulations. And then the other part of it too, and this is not a knock on Auburn, because Auburn is a great town to live in, but where do you want to live with your wife and potentially your kids? You got to look at schools. You got to look at, future. I mean, if you've got kids and you move them from, again, this hypothetical, from Statesboro to Auburn, and then you get fired at Auburn in 2 years, and now your kids got to up and leave school potentially when they could have just stayed in Statesboro. I mean, who knows? Lots to think about.
I'd stay in Statesboro.
I would too. I love Statesboro.
I'm not going to give my reasons, but I'd stay in Statesboro.
I'd be going to Hook's Barbecue every day for lunch. I mean, my God, that's Troy. I'm an idiot, but
that's fine. Troy's great too.
Yeah, Troy's a good time. I'd stay in Troy. I'd stay in Statesboro. Whatever. Tyler Tipton, what's your headline from Week 7?
I got two teams that just keep rolling, and they're impressing me right now. They look really good. You got John Rice Plumlee and UCF. They are rolling. They look great right now. Same thing with Toledo. They just keep rolling. They look like the favorites out of the MAC, like we talked about earlier. And I'm sure Murph might talk a little bit about this, but I am shocked that Fresno State beat San Jose State. But credit to Fresno State for the big win at home.
Yeah, that was and Haener didn't play. I mean, and that was a low-scoring defensive type game.
Yeah.
So that was wild to see. I mean, it was after all the shocking games from the Sun Belt and from, the rest of the Group of 5. Then that game late on Saturday night was like, man, dude, another upset. So, yeah, but shout out to Fresno on that. That's a big win. Shout out to Fresno's crowd too. I mean, they've not been having a good season, but they've been packing that place every single week. So good for them. I know Murph, you talked about it before.
Yeah, and that's where I was going, was that game. I mean, just another sellout crowd at Fresno, and that just, despite the season that they're having, that's great credit to their fan base, to their marketing department. Just they've done a really good job over the last 2 decades of just building that core fan base that they're going to show up, no matter what, and sell that place out. And I think that was part of the reason for the win. You got a loud environment. We talk about it all the time. You can shave off, anywhere from 6 to 10 points probably in a close game. And credit to Fresno State's defense. They kept Cordero in the pocket. They did not allow him to run like he has been running. Really made him try and throw the ball. And, they got it done. Fresno State got it done. And hopefully, Hayner's going to be coming back, maybe this week, possibly next week. I looked today. There really was no update on a return with him. But, Mountain West, you just never know. You just never know, man. They get him back. They make a run. They could be right back in it. So
I think he was practicing a little bit last week.
The Mountain West, man. I mean, what Utah State won with their third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
And then Air Force blows out UNLV at UNLV. Air Force is week to week right now. They're starting to piss me off. Every time I start doubting them, they blow somebody out. And now next week, actually, they play Boise this week, so that'll be. I'm not expecting, any kind of blowout. But for me, man, that ECU Memphis game was awesome.
It was
4 overtimes. ECU pulls out the win on that new 2-point conversion rule after the second OT. Great game, great environment for that one. And then FAU over Rice. Just when we all start to jump on the Rice bandwagon and jump off the FAU bandwagon, FAU beats Rice in a low-scoring game too.
Surprisingly low-scoring game in that one. Yeah.
I mean, this is such a wild season. I mean, top to bottom, it's wild. But those are your headlines from Week 7. Jeff, I believe we've got a Southern Roots Radio commercial to read before we get into some more stuff from Week 8.
Yeah, absolutely. So Southern Roots Radio, you can find them at southernrootsradio.com, at Southern Roots Radio. And if you like good Americana country-style music, man, they play all different genres. It's an online radio station. Go check them out. And they play our show on Wednesday afternoons, 5:30 p.m. Central Time and 8 a.m. Saturday Central Time. And they, connecting the storytelling and twang from Classic Music Row, the grit and blues from Beale Street, and the rhythm and soul coming out of the Singing River and Muscle Shoals. Go check them out.
Check them out, man, and thanks to those guys for playing our show.
We appreciate it.
Radio,
JP
cool.
Plant, all those guys, they do a great job over there.
Just getting the word out, getting more and more people on this Group of 5 bandwagon to help fight the fight. Last thing from Week 7, so top performers, talk about players, and this, of course, is brought to you by Prize Picks. You guys download the Prize Picks app, use our promo code GOFG. They'll match your first-time deposit up to $100. And, guys, I sent y'all a screenshot for me last week, dude. Shavon Cordero has it. He has it in passing yards alone, but then he gets sacked a couple of times and gets minus 18 rushing yards. So I lose the pass and rush total by, I think I lost it by 2 yards, I think.
That's tough. Normally they don't count that. That's interesting. Normally they don't count.
Cost me 100 bones, man. But so yeah, as always, I start with the swag bear. So give me your top performer from Week 7.
When it comes to winning ball games, people always say defense wins championships. I agree. Good quarterback play can always help you win ball games. But if you want to for sure win a ball game, you have that offensive line destroy that defensive line. And so my Prize Pick award goes to the offensive line of Old Dominion. Old Dominion plays against Coastal Carolina, and before that, they only averaged 71 yards rushing a game. They go to Coastal Carolina and get 324 yards of a rushing offense against Coastal. So I would say Blake Watson with a 256 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, but he would not do that without that 5-man front, center, left guard, left tackle, right tackle. Those boys are my Prize Picks. Hell of a job with that offensive line.
Yeah, they just hit Coastal in the mouth, man. Bunch of big plays too. I think we have a 60-plus yard touchdown run, a 22-yard touchdown run. I mean, all of their touchdowns were on big plays, like 20-plus yards. So, and they put it to them. Tip, I'll go to you next. Give me your top performer from Week 7.
You got James Madison, quarterback. Todd Centeio just keeps putting up video game-like numbers, 512 total yards, 5 total touchdowns against Georgia Southern. They came up short, but still just a fantastic game from him in that game. Speaking of good offensive line play, UAB's O-line and Air Force's O-line. UAB running backs, plural. Dwayne McBride, 29 carries. Your kind of guy right there, Sprouse. 137 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns against Charlotte. And then another UAB running back, Dylan Hopkins, had 10 carries, 103 yards, and a rushing touchdown against Charlotte. And then Sprouse's boy, Air Force running back Brad Roberts, 29 carries, 144 yards, and 4 touchdowns against UNLV. And an interesting fact about that game, Air Force only threw the ball 3 times. They completed 1 pass for 14 yards. They ran the ball 76 times that game against UNLV.
Dude, it's so funny. When I was at the Air Force prep school, we obviously ran that offense, and we had our one big play. It was a bunch of lingo, and then it was Texas 8 is what it was called, and it was literally like a stupid play action pass. But every time, which it was like once a game that we called that play, everybody on the O-line knew it was a touchdown every time. And in the at the prep school, you're playing JUCOs and stuff, so typically you're not getting quite as much film study. But that thing was a touchdown every time. I bet it's still the same play they're running. I bet it got them 14 yards this past week.
That's great.
Jeff, top performers from week 7. What do you got?
I got 2. I got Keaton Mitchell, East Carolina running back, 29 carries, 149 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
He's back.
In that big win, and he had a massive overtime. They don't call it a touchdown or anything in overtime, but catch for a score. And then the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, Dedrick Parsons, 24 rushes, 136 yards, and 3 touchdowns for the win over Nevada.
That was about 3 a.m., wasn't it?
It was.
That game didn't kick off till midnight Eastern time, dude. Good Lord. Yeah, I got a bunch. I mean, second week in a row, Daquan Finn, just efficient. 16 of 22, 263 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then he also had 14 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown running. So he accounted for 7 TDs. So did John Rice Plumlee at UCF. He went 18 of 22, 373 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, and then 7 rushes for 37 yards and 3 touchdowns rushing. 7 touchdowns apiece out of those 2 quarterbacks, and they really didn't throw it that many times. UCF put up 70 points, and then with Finn, Toledo was, what were they down, 28-7 early?
Yeah, they were.
In our group thread, you guys were texting, and then all of a sudden Toledo just starts rolling. And
Did you see Kent State's running back Marquez Cooper? He had 31 carries for 164 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
The running backs.
So I saw 31 carries and I thought about you. I was like,
I love it.
Sprouse.
That's old school. That's like Emmitt Smith type stats. Like, but they would get like 30 carries and 100 yards. That was like a standard running backs game back in the day, dude. Now you get 30 carries. These guys are getting, this guy got 256.
Yeah.
I mean, holy cow. And then my last one, I mean, Jesse talked about it, but Kyle Van Treese, 578 yards. I mean, that's stupid. That's NFL blitz numbers, dude.
And Sprouse, they had 3 receivers. Well, one was a running back and 2 were receivers, all over 100 yards. The running back had 7 catches for 164 yards, 2 touchdowns receiving. Then you had Caleb Hood, 8 catches, 131 yards, and Jeremy Singleton, 7 catches, 108 yards.
Who would have thunk it? Are all those? Do we know? Are all those receivers? They were there already, huh? I think that was something at Georgia Southern where Helton was excited about he was surprised that they had good receivers there already. But imagine you go from blocking every down to now
like a receiver's dream.
You're getting 60 targets, dude. Are you kidding me? Oh, they're probably loving life. And now just imagine they would have transferred. Wouldn't be getting that. But so moving on to week 8. So you got 2 non-conference games in week 8. You got UNLV going up to Notre Dame, 24.5-point dogs, and then you've got La Monroe going to Army. You said you got the line on that game, Tip?
I do, yeah. Army's a 7-point favorite at home.
I don't see any upsets there. What do you guys think on that?
No,
on either of those two?
Pretty straightforward there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Swagber's biting his tongue. What,
I don't want to make it stupid. I don't want to make it stupid. Oh, UNLV Notre Dame? No chance. No chance. I was looking at the La Monroe Army game. Well, no, La Monroe and Army. That's also up for debate too right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean they're playing. La Monroe's playing so well, and Army's been struggling. I mean, La Monroe's been barely losing to really good games. Me and Titch were talking about it before. I kind of do like Army just because that offense, but I won't be surprised if I see La Monroe win because, I mean, damn, they need to get a win because I think they have won since they beat Louisiana, and they just keep slowly or barely losing. So keep an eye on it. I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah.
It's so tough to tell with a team like Army that runs the ball a lot. You just don't know how it's hard to predict how these defenses are going to do against an offense like that. So if they're able to stop them and play assignment football on the defensive side, they got a chance to win.
Yep.
In the American Conference, game of the week, it's got to be UCF going to ECU. I'll tell you what, if I didn't have a baby coming in the next couple of days, that would be the game to go to 100%. That place is going to be electric, and that's why that line is only 5 points, because they know damn well how hard it is to play at ECU. We'll go around the horn, though. Grish, what do you think?
10 seconds ago, I would have said UCF, but then I'm just thinking East Carolina. I think I'm going against East Carolina almost every game this year, but you just never know with them. I could easily see this be a game where East Carolina pulls out the upset. UCF probably they're due a loss, so I'm going to take East Carolina money line on this one.
Ooh, Tip.
I'm going UCF to cover. They're rolling right now. I think they keep it rolling. ECU's defense giving up almost 390 yards per game, and they're giving up 30 points a game in their 4 conference games this season. UCF, they've won 4 in a row. I think it's going to be 5 after Saturday. I'm going UCF, and I think they cover.
Murph?
God, I hate when I agree with the Swag Bear, but I love a home dog. I'm going to take
keep it my pick then.
I'm going to take ECU. I think Keaton Mitchell and that offense is rolling. I think they're going to have the momentum at home, and I'm interested to see how UCF handles going into this hostile environment, because we've seen them a couple times this year where they just decide to not show up, and I think this might be a week where they don't show up.
Not a bad pick, Jeff. I'm on fire right now, lately. I'm getting everything right.
East Carolina getting
by a million.
Keaton Mitchell back.
Or I mean, UCF by a million now.
Yeah. I'm with Tip on this. I agree with what y'all are saying. UCF, typically they're due to just drop one, unexplainably, but they're rolling right now. I mean, that offense plus they got an extra day or two, right? And then they play on Thursday or Friday this past week. So to prepare for this game, John Rice Plumlee's he looks good. I mean, he looks really good. UCF offense, Gus Malzahn, they're rolling. I mean, they might be my favorite in the American right now.
He's consistently good too. Now maybe that means he's due for a bad game. I don't know, but just
haven't seen Plumlee?
Yeah.
Louisville, he had some issues. That's the game that I cannot. I keep thinking I had a lot of money on that game. He really screwed me. I hate the guy. So he may, I'm hoping that guy shows up against East Carolina too, because my money is going on East Carolina.
So in the rest of the American, you got Tulsa, 12-point favorites at Temple on Friday night. Houston only 3-point favorites at Navy. Cincinnati only 3-point favorites at SMU. And then Memphis, 7-point dogs at Tulane. Are you guys looking at any of those? Any upsets, any surprises?
The Memphis at Tulane. The reason I like this game is because I like both these quarterbacks. I like Michael Pratt. I like Seth Hennigan. They're 2 very similar quarterbacks, with Pratt with a QBR rating of 59.2 and Hennigan has a 58.8. Both have similar touchdown passes. I think Hennigan has 12 and Pratt has 11. But they're very, very, very similar. And they're 2 very similar offenses. So I'm going to see a very high-scoring game. I like Tulane because it's at Tulane, but I don't think they cover. I'm saying Tulane 42, Memphis 38.
I'll go on a score prediction too. Memphis, man, coming off 2 straight heartbreakers.
Yeah.
Heartbreakers. So we'll see if they can bounce back. See what type of team they are. Can they keep coming? Can they keep coming, or will they throw in the towel?
Check out their QB rate. It's crazy. They are like the exact same guy, Hennigan and Pratt.
Maybe they are. Tip, what about you? You got any other surprises on this week?
This is a huge week for Houston. Are they going to turn it around this season after a huge comeback win at Memphis? This is a tough test for them. I really do. I think it's a tough game. It's at Navy, We know what Navy's offense is going to do. They're going to run the ball. If they can run the ball successfully against Houston, control the clock, and keep Houston's high-powered offense off the field, they can win this game. I think Houston's going to win this game, but it's going to be close. And, I mean, I think they're on upset alert this week.
Murph?
I'm going to go E.J. Warner. Temple at home. Tulsa is 12-point favorites. I'm for the rest of the season, betting-wise, I am rolling with home dogs, taking the points or taking the money line. So I think Temple upsets Tulsa at home Friday night.
So when Temple was playing UCF, like the first series, that's Kurt Warner's kid, by the way, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. He came out, and I was like, hey, this guy's better than his dad ever thought about being. And then UCF just smoked him. But he's young. He's a true freshman.
Yeah.
But he looked good. He can sling that thing.
He's under constant pressure. I don't think Tulsa's has the same type of defensive line that UCF has. So I don't know. I'm just rolling with it. What? I hear a cough over there.
No, he's
not. No. I'm laughing at him.
Better than his daddy.
No, it's just funny. I didn't watch the game. I didn't see it, but now honestly, I had.
And they got crushed
on Saturday, so I forgot
by 60 points.
I forgot you said that. Like I just like all coming back to me now Saturday, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. He's a good player. Well, the only one we didn't talk about, Cincinnati at SMU. I think that's low. I think Cincinnati comes out, and I think they cover that. SMU is just too inconsistent for me. I know they should have a decent crowd. Mordecai can throw it all over the place.
He can, but I mean, he struggled against UCF. They're in the second half of that game. I mean, Cincinnati's defense is still good.
Yeah.
Even though they lost all those players last season, they're still good. So I could see Tanner Mordecai struggling a little bit in this game.
Yeah, I like Cincinnati to cover on that game. Moving on to Conference USA, couple big ones, couple really big ones. We've got the top four that we all said preseason. We've got them all playing each other this week in Conference USA. So first we'll go to UAB at Western Kentucky. Western 2.5-point favorites at home. Swag Bear, what do you think?
Just call me Swag Bear Tipton because I got an interesting stat for you. The Hilltoppers have been the money line favorite 4 times this season, and they're 3-1 every time. 3-1 every time. That makes
60% of the time, 100% of the time.
It works every time. They're 3-1 when they're favored in the money line. So I'm taking Western Kentucky. Taking Western Kentucky straight up against UAB.
Tip.
I think we know with UAB's offense, they don't have a quarterback that's going to throw the ball all over the field. They rely on their really good rushing game, and that's how if UAB can keep this game close and they run the ball well against Western Kentucky, they can win this game. If Western Kentucky and that offense gets out to an early lead, it's going to be really tough for UAB to come back. But I'm going with the road upsets. I'm going to go with UAB. I think their defense can slow down Western's offense enough to keep the game close in the second half, and that's going to benefit them in that rushing offense. I think they'll run the ball effectively on offense, and I think they win.
Murph?
I've gotten to see both of these teams live the last 2 weeks. Saw Western last week and UAB the week before, and I'm going to be honest. I think UAB is the more complete team. I think they can run the ball with both of those running backs. And honestly, Dylan Hopkins, I mean, he can throw it a lot better than I thought when I was able to see him in person. He can put it out there, and they got a couple of receivers that can go get it. And I think that defense is very, very good. And what they challenge you to do, they challenge you to run the ball, and that is not Western's strength. They want to throw the ball. They sit back with 8 guys in coverage. They run a little bit kind of different of a 3-down front with a lot of extra guys. You got like a jack backer that kind of just roams. It's a different front. They keep everything in front. So, Western's going to want to throw those fast screens all over the place. They tackle well on defense. I think UAB gets the upset.
Yeah, I like UAB in this one as well. It's kind of strength on strength. UAB's defense only allowing 17 points a game, and then Western scoring 40-plus per game. I think UAB is going to try to control it, and I mean, we'll see how it goes. I definitely think really good game. I think slugfest type game, but I'm going UAB, Dwayne McBride, big game. Another big one, North Texas at UTSA. UTSA's 10-point favorites in this game. Yeah, I think that's a lot of points. But I'll start with you, Swag Bear. What do you think?
Unfortunately, I was really high on North Texas. Still think North Texas is a really good team. I think they're going to have a really good season. UTSA, they play Houston right now. They win. Man, they're a few plays away from probably beating Texas Longhorns. They're good. UTSA is really good. And it's at UTSA. I'm taking Texas San Antonio. I think they're going to cover. I hate saying that, but just looking back through North Texas' schedule and seeing what UNLV did to those guys, I don't see how UTSA doesn't win by 2 scores. UTSA.
Tip.
I think 10 points is too much. I'm going to go North Texas plus 10. Both of these teams, both of these offenses should have success moving the ball and scoring in this game. I think it's going to be a really high-scoring game. Both defenses are giving up over 430 yards a game and over 30 points this season per game. Both offenses are scoring 36 points a game and averaging 490-plus yards per game this season. You got 2 really good offenses, 2 average defenses, stats-wise. UTSA, I think they're going to win since it's a home game, but I'm going to take North Texas plus 10.
Murph?
Yeah, I think 10 is too much. I agree with Tip. I think North Texas' strength is running the ball, and when you can run the ball, you chew clock, you keep Frank Harris and that offense on the sideline. I do think San Antonio wins this game, but I think it is very, very close, and it comes down to the wire.
I feel like I went like preseason. I feel like I said North Texas was going to win this game. But after watching UTSA, I mean, I don't think anybody can. They've got 3 legit number 1 receivers out there, and they're just, it's impossible. I mean, they show it every week. I mean, all 3 of them are always on Prize Picks, all 3 of them, and they're always at like 19.5 fantasy points. And I'm always debating, well, which is the one of these 3 that's not going to go off this game? And I mean, make sure I don't pick that one. And it's impossible to pick because they just throw it all over the place. I think UTSA is going to cover this, man. I do. I think it's going to be
good,
close.
Man.
Well, yeah. I want to go North Texas because I said it preseason, but I just think UTSA is impossible to stop. I think it's going to be close, though. Like, I don't think UTSA is just going to come out there and blow them out. I think late. I think, 49-35 kind of game. But, yeah, give me UTSA. The rest of the conference and Conference USA, Rice, 2.5-point favorites at Louisiana Tech. FIU, 14.5-point dogs at Charlotte. FAU, -4 at UTEP. Tip, what do you got?
This FAU at UTEP game, as Murph says, the home dog. I like UTEP to win this game. FAU 0-3 on the road this season. UTEP's playing at home for the first time in a month. Give me UTEP at home with the upset.
Love that.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to go that way as well. Murph, Jess, anything else on that? On Conference USA?
I think La Tech's going to beat Rice. I'm rooting for La Tech. I'm saying La Tech. In the words of Murph, home dog. I like La Tech over Rice.
Give me a home dog with everything on it. I think Charlotte's going to win this game. Charlotte played pretty well last week. Seems like slowly week to week they're showing glimpses of the team that we possibly thought they might have been. So I don't know. I mean, I think they definitely take care of business at FIU.
Yeah, FIU, man. They hung tight with UTSA for a little bit the other night. I will say this. I do want to give them a shout out. They have very minimal attendance at FIU. But what I will say they're starting to get some students showing up there. And that's a credit to Coach Mack because I see him on social media. That guy's going to all the different, academic programs into their buildings and doing little pep rallies. They got the team. They got the cheerleaders. That's what you got to do at a place like that. FIU, I don't know if there's a more difficult Group of 5 school in the country to – I'm sure we could debate it, but maybe Georgia State is like that. But it's more difficult to get people to go there on a Friday or Saturday night. And he's getting the students. And, again, get the students first, man.
Yep.
And it'll come. And then get the students, start winning some games, and they'll get rolling. So shout out to them. You guys stay with that team down there in Miami. In the MAC, never would have thought this might be a preview of the conference championship game. Toledo, here you go, Jeff. Home dog for you. Toledo 7.5-point favorites at Buffalo. What do you guys think, Swag Bear?
Oh, I thought you went to Jeff.
Well,
me personally, Buffalo's having a great year. They're undefeated in conference right now. No, man. I think they lose this weekend. Toledo's just too much. Daquan Finn, he's dog. So I'm gonna take Toledo money line.
Yeah, that dude's a handful. They are. When we did that MAC podcast with those guys, that was the whole thing. Toledo's always got the talent, but they never can put it all together. And unless something changes, they're putting it together right now. And they are the only, because they're the only team in the MAC that's really separating themselves right now. Tip, what do you think on that game?
I agree with the Swag Bear. I think Buffalo's undefeated MAC record comes to an end this weekend. Like he said, Daquan Finn, he's too good. I don't think Buffalo's going to be able to stop him. They've obviously been playing really well recently, but so has Toledo. And I think Toledo flat out just outscores Buffalo in this game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Over-under in this game, 60. I would take the over.
Murph, what do you think?
Told you the rest of the way. Give me a home dog with relish, ketchup, mustard, all the fixins. I think Buffalo covers plus 7.5. I don't know if they quite win, but I think it's going to be a very, very close game. It has not been pretty most of the time, but Buffalo just seems to find a way. They play good defense, they run the ball, and they win games. So it wouldn't shock me if Buffalo wins, just because of every time I think I've had picked a favorite to cover and win, they end up losing. So you know what? Just give me Buffalo outright. Why not? Let's do it. Let's get crazy, kids.
Daquan Finn loves hot dogs, by the way.
What's all the fixins on a hot dog? What's all the fixins mean on a hot dog?
Well, it depends. You got a lot of different
style
dogs.
you want? Chicago style.
Yeah. It's a whole lot of different
I like
dogs
mustard and ketchup on my hot dog. You know what a really good hot dog is? A good old Costco dog. You know, I want 10 people touch my hot dog, give it to me. It's like this long, using a ketchup and mustard that kids been licking with their tongues. And so then I just put it on the hot dog. But it's so good. Love a hot dog with mustard and ketchup this long. Costco.
You got a little diced onion, pickle.
Diced onion.
Yeah.
What's like shit for weeks.
It does. I like a good hot dog. I go relish for sure. I like relish on a hot dog.
Kraut. I'm a big kraut dog too.
What do they do on a Chicago dog? They put all kind of stuff.
It's like a pickle in it.
There's a pickle. Usually there's like a pickle spear. They do some people do the jardinera. That's big up in Chicago.
Yeah,
it's just like the sport peppers and the carrots and the cauliflower. So
I like a good
seed bun, I think.
I like a good like the Greek dog is good, right? You put I don't even know what I'm talking about, to be quite honest with you. But they put more tomato, like it's just like all kind of stuff. You can't even eat the damn thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it always falls apart, but it's all good. It still tastes good.
Give me a good pizza dog with some pizza sauce, some pepperonis, cheese, banana peppers. Throw that thing in the oven.
Tip.
Phenomenal.
Something you made at 2 a.m. at your house in circa 2010.
I got it.
Thing.
I got it from Blast from the Past. If you remember, Around the Way Dog on Main Street in Murfreesboro.
Around the Way Dog.
Shout out, Tipton, because I was about to say, do you remember the P-Dog, the peanut butter hot dog?
Oh yeah,
phenomenal. Coleslaw, peanut butter, pickles,
slaw on a hot dog,
and some other weird concoction. And they said, "Try it, you'll love it." Man. It was amazing.
Shout out the Mustard Slaw on Rick's Barbecue, little family plug. But they're slaw dogs, with some white sauce, big time.
No question.
Costco's still open.
Back to the Mac.
Yeah. Anyway,
speaking of hot dogs,
Toledo Rockets. No, I like Toledo in that game. I think we just saw last week they can get down 3 or 4 touchdowns and they're still in the game. I just like how efficient DeQuan Finn is. He's not throwing it a ton, but he's throwing a ton of touchdowns, and he's not turning it over. So I go Toledo there. Elsewhere in the MAC, Akron's at Kent State. Kent State 19-point favorites. Bowling Green at Central Michigan. Central Michigan a touchdown favorite there. Eastern Michigan at Ball State. Ball State 2.5-point favorites at home. NIU 2.5-point favorites on the road at Ohio. And then Western Michigan 6-point dogs at Miami of Ohio. You guys, any surprises there? Anything?
Speaking of wieners, Ohio has been winning. Winners. Ohio has been winning this year. They've got a winning season. But however, it's been in conference, it's been like some pretty weak opponents: Kansas State, Akron, Western Michigan. I think NIU is back. I think NIU goes to Ohio and wins and gets right back or stays on track and takes down the wieners.
I agree with you. If Rocky Lombardi's playing, Harrison Whaley at running back, if they get firing, you never know. NIU might make a run. They might mess around and go.
I have a feeling. I feel it. I think
they might go 7-5 again and play for the conference championship.
Freezing outside November, Maction Tuesday. We're like, hang on, when NIU's got 7 wins right now.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Tip or Murph, what about y'all? Y'all looking at any of these other games?
I was looking at that same game. I think NIU wins this game by 7 or 10 points with Rocky Lombardi back. Listen to NIU's remaining schedule after this week. So if they beat Ohio, they have 3 out of their 4 last games are at home. They have Central Michigan at home. Central Michigan is currently 2-5 overall, 1-2 in MAC. They're at Western Michigan, who's also currently 2-5, 1-2 in the MAC. Miami of Ohio, currently 3-4, 1-2 in the MAC. And then Akron at home, 1-6 and 0-4 in the MAC. They do need some help, though. They need Toledo and Ball State. Since they lost to both of them, they need some help. They need them to slip up and lose a couple of games here down the stretch. And if they do, like we're all like Swag Bear and Sprouse are just saying, watch out for NIU. I think they're going to make a run.
Yeah, I like it. Murph, what about you? Any of these other games?
Yeah, I got a game. Bowling Green at Central Michigan. I don't know what has been going on with Central Michigan, but it just has not been up to the standard that we thought they were going to be. And Bowling Green got a win last week. I think they go and beat Central Michigan on the road. Give me Bowling Green.
Here's a stat for you. Other than their game against FCS Bucknell, Lou Nichols does not have a 100-yard game this season.
Yeah.
He's only got 4 touchdowns on the season, and 2 of them were in that Bucknell game. Now, what I will say is last week against Ball State in a loss, they gave him that thing 31 times, only 97 yards. And one.
Did he get hurt last week? I didn't see him get any yards at all this past weekend. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a good statistician. I looked, and I don't think he even played last week.
Well, let's see. Akron.
It's deleting.
Let's take a look.
Well, I hate to pause the show, but I don't think he played. I think he's hurt.
Yeah, he didn't have any stats, so not good. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Murph. They just, I guess kind of one-dimensional, and people have figured out how to shut down Lou Nichols, and then if he doesn't play,
well, remember in the beginning of before the season, we talked about losing those, key offensive linemen. Was that going to play a role?
Yep.
It kind of seems like it to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, and they lost with it. They had a first-round pick on that O-line, and then the other guy went second or third round. Both tackles got drafted. Central Michigan puts out some damn linemen now.
They do.
So I guess they don't have that yet on this roster. Going to the Mountain West, game of the week's got to be Boise State at Air Force. Boise State's rolling. Air Force a little bit inconsistent. I'm a little surprised at the line on this. Air Force 4-point favorites at home. I'll go to you, Swag Bear. What do you think?
What were you surprised about? You thought it'd be more?
No, I thought Boise would be favored, actually.
No, I think because it's at Air Force, and I like it. So probably choose the other way. I like Boise State going at Air Force. Man, they've had some down weeks, but if Air Force plays Air Force football, they should be able to handle Boise State. So I'm taking Air Force. I'm taking -4. I think they make a statement this weekend.
I like it. Tip.
Boise State new freshman quarterback Taylon Green has given this offense a spark that wasn't there at the beginning of the season. He's a dual threat quarterback, and dual threat quarterbacks have given Air Force some problems on defense this season. And Air Force's loss to Utah State a couple weeks ago, they gave up 76 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown to Utah State's dual threat quarterback Cooper Legis. So I think Boise State's offense can have some success against Air Force's defense, but like Swag Bear just said, how's Boise State's defense going to look against this Air Force offense? I think Boise State they're starting to play better recently. I think they keep this game close. I'm going to give the edge to Air Force because they're at home where they're 4-0 this season, but I'm going to take Boise State +4 points.
Murph?
Honestly, betting purposes, I'm staying away from this game because from week to week, both of these teams just are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think Air Force wins the game because they're at home. Now, if it was in Boise, it'd be a little bit different story, I think. But I'm gonna give me Air Force.
Man, well, I got to go Air Force because I got them winning this conference, and they got to win because they've already got 2 losses. The thing I'm nervous about is like what Tip talked about. When you look at the Air Force Academy or any of the military schools, it's all about discipline, right? So when you have a defense that's disciplined, and then you have a quarterback that plays a little bit unconventional, all that discipline tends to hurt. I mean, look at some of the historic great defenses. What do they struggle with? A dual threat quarterback that can make plays. What do you call it, Murph? Off script plays.
Yeah.
Or off. Yeah. So that's what he could do. That being said, I think what Air Force does well, they're going to pound the rock. Brad Roberts probably going to have 30 carries. Probably going to throw it once or twice. Run the play action. Look for 14 yards. If they can get 14 plus passing yards, Tip, they win the game.
They win.
Can somebody find the stat on that? Like passing yards that Air Force needs to get to win the game, what the over-under is. But yeah, I wouldn't touch it betting wise because I could also see Boise State winning this game, but I'm going to take Air Force. I'll take them to cover. I'll take them to win by a touchdown. You guys are looking at the rest of the Mountain West. There's a bunch of good games. The Mountain West has been kind of that inconsistent conference this year, but are you guys looking at any of these other games? Any surprises, any upsets? Start with you, Swag Bear.
I'll make it quick. I don't see any upsets. I think every favorite team's going to win. Honestly. Not trying to be cute or funny. I don't see any upsets happening.
Tip.
I'm looking at that Utah State-Wyoming game. The winner of this game stays alive in the Mountain Division race with Boise State, and you're talking if Air Force beats Boise State and gives them their first conference loss, the winner of this game stays in that Mountain Division race to try and win that division. I like Wyoming at home. They've been playing really good defense. This is going to be a close game. Wyoming's favored by 3.5 at home. So I'm going to go Wyoming to win at home.
Murph, what do you think?
Another game that I'm just kind of rooting for personally is Colorado State. They played Utah State really close last week, and Matt Mummy, we've got to talk to him and I got to meet him. So I'm just kind of rooting for them. I think they take care of business. Hawaii at home, they've seemed to get the offense rolling a little bit more as of late. So give me Colorado State.
I like it. Tip, going back to that Utah State game, I don't know what the situation is, but they had 4 different players throw a pass in a 17-13 win against Colorado State. So I don't know if everybody's getting hurt or what. I mean, I know Bonner's out, but I don't know what the deal is. So I would
be running some trick plays, trying to
fire up
the old offense. Fire up the boys' imaginations at Wyoming.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is there.
Hey, Sprouse, real quick, another note.
Yes,
Colorado State is 1-5, and they had a great crowd this past weekend. It was like 25,000 plus. So, man, shout out to whoever's doing the marketing over there or figuring out how to get people butts in the stands even with a tough season. So good for them.
And I butchered that, by the way.
35,000.
Was it 35,000? Okay, yeah. Misread it.
For Sandy, which team was the ball with 4 different players? You said
Utah
Utah
State.
State?
It was
Oh,
Utah State.
okay. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Wyoming. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Micah's drawing up the plays, trying to loosen up the boys' imaginations, I guess. So.
Somebody ran I thought it was my own idea, trick play. They faked a quarterback sneak and snapped it through the quarterback's legs to the running back. Anybody see that play?
Mm-mm.
I've been talking about it for 10 years, trying to get somebody to run it because I ran it in Pop Warner. It's a good 2-point conversion, goal line, 4th and 1 type of play. Fake the quarterback sneak, snap it through the quarterback's legs.
Ooh.
Running back's just sitting there holding the ball. Everybody's running a sneak. Everybody's running the sneak. Tight end releases, running back runs out, and you got the option. Dump it over or run it.
I'm surprised no
Great
college
play.
team has tried the ball is flat trick. It worked all the time, Pee Wee in middle school. You know what I'm talking about? The center's like, oh, we need another ball, and
Trying
just
to
like
go hand it to the
walks it over to the sideline, and just takes off.
I never
mean,
understood that. How is that legal?
because the center technically just snapped it. And now he's walking the ball in the backfield towards the sideline to get another ball from the coaches, and he just takes off downfield.
Are you talking about the quarterback walks over to the
Oh, the
side?
center turns.
Well, you can turn on, give it to the quarterback, or the center can just walk. Yeah, but I guess he does give it to the quarterback, and then the quarterback walks, give the ball to the sideline, and then just hauls ass downfield. It could happen.
It's a good play. All right, Sun Belt. This is for sure Group of 5 game of the week, in my opinion. Thursday night, Troy at South Alabama in Mobile. South Alabama 3-point favorites in the game. It's going to put the winner of this game is going to be in the driver's seat for the West. Start with you, Swag Bear. What you got?
Maybe home dog with sauerkraut on it, but I love Troy's defense. I'm taking Troy straight up money line.
It's a road dog.
That'd be a road dog.
That's pretty good.
What?
No, I'm saying South Alabama may be the home. Oh, they're not home dogs. They're shit.
Road
Troy.
dog, Jesse James.
Tip, what do you think of that game?
This is going to be an exciting game to watch. I'm really excited to watch this game. I think this is going to be close until the end. And, I mean, to be honest, I don't have a ton of stats like sticking out to me in this game. These are two very similar teams stats-wise. South Alabama definitely has the advantage playing at home. They're 3-0 there this season. Their offense is averaging 42 points a game at home this season. So I'm going to give the edge to South Alabama. But, man, this is going to be such an exciting game. Troy's definitely going to keep this game close. I can't wait to watch it.
Murph?
I think South Alabama gets a win at home. I do, and I mainly say that because Texas State plays at South Alabama in 2 weeks, and in order for Texas State to win the West, I need that to happen. So
That's fair.
South
How bad
Alabama
do
at
you
home.
want to go back to San Marcos?
Oh, I
Texas?
want
Is
to
that
go
what it
back
is?
so bad.
Same here.
I don't know. Well, I think that's got to be a summer. I mean, you got to go back in the summer because we got to hit the river.
That
We
is
go
true.
back there. I'm not trying to go back.
If they're
there in
winning the Sun
December.
Belt,
Well,
we're
it's-
going there in
what's
December
the-
and riding the river. I
That's what
don't
I'm
care.
saying. I mean, it's got to stay warm down in Texas, right?
Yeah, it's really warm in Texas in December. My God, it snows, for God's sakes.
Yeah, guys.
There's one
look
way
at
to
a
find
map.
out.
Were y'all not? Do you remember in Fort Worth for the Armed
I wasn't
Forces
at that-
Bowl?
I
It was
wasn't
like
at that one.
25 degrees there. I'm going Troy, man. I think Troy's defense is just too good. I really do. Carlton Marshall's getting close, by the way. I think he had 10 or 11 tackles this past week. So he's just knocking that down. Interested to see what Troy does at quarterback because they brought in
Dougie.
Daggy. I don't know if we're saying that right or not. And he kind of sparked them last week. So, and Watson didn't play bad. It just seems like, in my opinion, Daggy throws a better ball. He's a little more accurate. But they both play okay. But
And a cool storyline from that game. They I guess they interviewed Dougie or after the game, and they said that Gunnar Watson basically went up to, the position coach or whoever it was, and was like, "Hey, he's got the hot hand, man. Stay with him. Let him roll." And they let him roll the rest of the way. That's pretty cool. So they have a pretty awesome relationship, those two guys. You don't always see that from personal experience.
yeah, really looking forward to that game.
I was when he said that, I looked at him and he said, "From personal experience." Whatever, it's funny.
Is that game's on ESPN? Probably.
I would think
Thursday
so on Thursday
nighter?
night.
Yeah, Thursday nights usually.
ESPNU as of right now.
The ESPN.
Boy. look forward to see who's calling that game.
What are they, preseason basketball on the normal channel?
Can we go ahead and just make bets? I guarantee it's who's I can't
What's
say.
his name? Yeah, I forgot his name.
Come on.
Anish.
Thank you, Anish. I didn't want to butcher
Anish.
it and come off like I'm some,
You know, I like. You know who I do like that gets some Group of Five games is he hosts the show too. Matt Berry is good.
Yeah, he is good.
He's good. But yeah, what was it? Andre Ware was doing one of them last week.
Andre Ware was garbage.
He's poor.
The guy that does the Mountain West games is really good too.
But
I'm
that's
horrible
not.
with
That's
names.
not
That's
ESPN.
not ESPN.
You're
That's
talking
usually
about
ESPN.
Petros Papadakis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is good.
I can't keep up with what station these guys work for, but either way.
Yeah, they're all. I thought it was just ESPN, but then when we watched that CBS Sports game, that guy was atrocious. Rest of the Sun Belt. Georgia State's at App State Wednesday night. So if you're listening or watching this podcast, this game's either over or happening. App State 10-point favorites at home. You got Marshall going to James Madison. James Madison 12.5-point favorites. Georgia Southern 2.5-point dogs at ODU. Arkansas State 6.5-point dogs at Louisiana. And then Southern Miss is actually a 1.5 favorite at Texas State. Jess, I'll go to you. What you think? Any upsets? What are you thinking?
I do have an upset.
Oh no!
I think Georgia State's hot. I think they upstate App State and Boone. I think they do. I think App State is hurting right now, and bring it on, Stu. Call in after the game. But something about Georgia State right now. They were my dark horse beginning of Sunbelt, and here we are halfway through the season. They've got some shit figured out. Georgia State is a ball club. You ready, Boone?
Boy, they are going to be
pissed
in shambles if that happens.
I think you should be mad at me and call in.
Jeff
Murphy, we got 16 voicemails here.
Stu's right from Twitter. Stu's right from Twitter. Hey, Stu's right from Twitter. I think that game's closer than 10.
Yeah.
I think App State wins just because it's at home. Tip, you looking at any of these games?
I got two upsets. I got Georgia Southern going to Old Dominion and beating them. I really, really, really like Georgia Southern's offense. So I think they go up to Old Dominion. I think they win that game. And I'm sure Murph's going to talk about this, but give me Texas State at home as the home dog. They are going to win that game. They will beat Southern Miss.
Texas State's undefeated at home, aren't they?
They are.
Mm-hmm. But they have not won a road game. Is that accurate?
I believe, yes, that is correct. They're 3-0 at home, 0-4 on the road.
Yikes.
You did the Gruden face. That's what I like to laugh at. Yeah.
Murph, what about you? I'm sure you think. I mean, Texas State, that checks all your boxes. Home dog. Texas State just by themselves.
Give me a little barbecue on the home dog since we're down in San Marcos. Maybe some of those breakfast tacos we had while we were down there.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
they've been playing so good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they have. They've been playing some really good football. So I like Texas State at home. I'm interested to see, can James Madison, after that loss, can they come back and be the same team that they've kind of been? So that's going to be a game I definitely want to watch. And I don't know. Week to week, Louisiana scares me. They look good, and then they don't look good. So I'm not saying Arkansas State's going to win, but I think that might be kind of close.
Butch Jones might need them to win this game because every time I look, Arkansas State's losing. So Butch Jones better beat Louisiana, or he might be gone soon.
Yeah, because they lost another close one this past weekend. Huh?
Yeah, his brick by brick is starting to fall up underneath him.
That message has got it. You know, some of these coaches that have they just have their thing that they do, like PJ Fleck. You know, he has their row the boat thing. Like at some point, that's got to get old, right? In the locker room. I mean, like I know how we all are, and I just know me and Grisham would be sitting in the O-line room. I'd be sitting behind it. Hitting me.
This boat ain't rowing nowhere, bro. We've been rowing this boat for 5 years, bro. Shit. Rowing this boat in a pond. I hear you though. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, but anyway, so I feel like the same with the brick by brick and all those kind of gimmicky things. I'm not a big fan of. But yeah, that game does scare me a lot. I think there's going to be not a lot of people there. In Louisiana, they have their fan base is fighting amongst themselves. Tell you what, man, these fans. I don't want to go on another rant, but I saw that there was a lot of turmoil even at Troy, because a lot of the students didn't go because they were watching Alabama. I just don't get it. Alabama don't care about you. Like what is it? What is it, Murph, in the Bronx Tale when he talks about Mickey Mantle doesn't go when your father can't pay the rent? Go ask Mickey Mantle and the Yankees if he'll pay it for you. He don't care about you.
Sure
But
does.
you know who would? Somebody probably at Troy would, or for us at Middle Tennessee probably would pay the bill for us. Before we go, let's talk about players to watch for this week. Of course, that's brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app, Prize Picks. Use our promo code GOFG. They'll match your deposit up to $100. Let's talk about Week 8 Prize Picks players. Start with you, Swag Bear. Who are you looking at?
Sorry, App State, but the reason I think there's going to be an upset is because of Georgia State's quarterback, Darren Granger. 240.5 passing and rushing yards. Take the over on that against App State and watch Darren Granger upset the App State Mountaineers.
Tip.
I'm looking at the over on 3 player props in the ECU UCF game. John Rice Plumlee. I know this is a lot, but 335.5 passing and rushing yards. Give me the over. Also, ECU quarterback Holton Ahlers, 275.5 passing yards. I'll take the over. I feel like if ECU's behind it all in this game, he's going to have to throw a lot. And UCF wide receiver Ryan O'Keefe, his receptions total right now is at 5.5. I'll take the over if their other wide receiver, Javon Baker, is out. He got hurt last game, so that's something to keep an eye on. Also, give me anything over in the Cincinnati versus SMU game on Saturday. All the Saturday game props aren't out yet, so I don't have those numbers yet. And also another game, anything over in the North Texas versus UTSA game.
I like it. Murph, what do you think?
I'm going to go one guy, keep it short and sweet. Whatever Kyle Van Treese's passing yards are, go over.
I like that. I'm going to take, and it's going to be too late by the time you're listening to this, but give me Christian Horn, App State wide receiver, 3.5 catches. Give me the over on that. And then I'm going to take him again. Shavon Cordero, his pass and rush total is 294.5. He had 296 passing alone last week, and they're playing New Mexico State this week. So I look for him to throw and run it all over the place. That's all we got for you guys tonight. If you do like the show, make sure you hit like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify, all your podcast streaming platforms. Make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Hit group5guys.com. Get you some swag for the rest of this season. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.